That's nice, but that's the rule of the day. 2 stages, very interesting speakers, very interesting guests, and of course it should be really, really a conversation the whole day. Ask people, network, ask stupid questions, of course, because it's so important, and it's such a good chance today to be here with you in the room. It's kind of the best seats in the industry that you have, and you will, I think, everybody will know this. And it's like a perfect planning of today. Tonight the DLD starts. Yesterday the Bayerische Filmpreis took place, so it is really kind of a very busy weekend here in Germany. And I get the time, okay, so we have the first speaker now, and Hannah announced him already. He's for almost 20 years in the business. He's a connector really through and through. He's a global man, I would say. Like, he speaks French, he speaks English, he speaks Bavarian. He's a tech evangelist, so he will spread the good news, because that's what evangelist means, spreading the good news. Also consulting the fashion e-commerce platform Stylight, and he's the chief organist of Dahu.and, the tech conference. Bonjour et bienvenue, Johann Romefort. Bienvenue on stage, Johann. Bonjour.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today. It looks like a very amazing event, and also I'm going to talk about one of the things that I love to talk about and share about my work and myself. It's networking. What a better place than a conference to do some networking. Clicker, yes. Thank you. So I'm Johann, that's my evangelist pose, like, come to me. And I'm been building communities for about 10 years now. So earlier today, when I said that someone asked me, like, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm a tech evangelist. And she was like, like, this is me. Well, basically, my mission is to get my company known in the tech ecosystem, and to do so, I build communities. I organize a lot of events. You might have seen me before. I talk at conferences, give workshops, and I also happen to organize a conference, the Dahu conference, coming up in July. So I'm going to bring you along my personal journey, which started in France, in Paris, as you might hear from my accent. I then moved to San Francisco. I met my co-founder in Paris, and he's like, yeah, I want to work on this thing, and like, do you want to join? I was like, yeah, sure. Then let's move to San Francisco. So we had this crazy ride in San Francisco, and after 7 years, I decided that it was time to go back to Europe, and I chose Munich. Of course, the question I get all the time is like, so first, why did you move? We're not going to get into that today. But what's different about the Silicon Valley ecosystem? Well, and my answer is always the same. It's really the network. Like, the network is really dense. There's a lot of nodes into it, a lot of people, which are really connected to each other. So like, the connectiveness aspect is very important, and it reconfigures really fast. Like, new people arrive, some leaves, and so on. What did I learn during my journey in Silicon Valley? Well, first and foremost, I learned about networking, like how your network can actually help you and your company to succeed. I learned a lot of about the codes. When you're like like a young Frenchman and you arrive and like you pitch your idea, everyone's like, oh yeah, my God, this is great. Well, every time you're gonna pitch an idea, people will actually tell you that it's awesome. You need to go through it and like kind of understand that it's part of a kind of a protocol. So you need to understand like a lot of little rules like that to make the most of your connections. Of course, nurturing your relations is really important. Keeping in touch with people, connecting them together, helping them, which brings me to this huge topic in Silicon Valley, which is pay it forward. So means I'm going to help people out without expecting anything in return or anything clear in return. At some point, it will come. That's a huge thing in Silicon Valley. So here I am back in Munich, starting from scratch, pretty much. I don't speak German. I have no network when I arrive. I have no friends, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do with my life. I was thinking about building a new company, but like without network, it's not easy. So what do you do in this case? Well, you try to get into the thing. At first, it was a bit difficult to see where the action was happening. It was almost 4 years ago, so it was much calmer than now. I started to organize meetups, to participate in meetups, to go to conferences, and to meet a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert, so it's sometimes not easy. You arrive, like today, in a conference, you don't know anyone. You're kind of walking like that. You try to avoid making eye contact. And I had this experience in Silicon Valley when I arrived over there. My co-founder was this kind of genius at connecting with people, and very good with communicating and approaching people. And we went to this conference, I think it was a Twitter developer conference, and it was hey, Johann, look, there's a lot of developers here. You should connect with them, and because we need developers. I was I don't know how to do that. It was a really awkward experience, So the truth is the magic happens outside of your comfort zone, outside of where the magic happens. So you need to get out of, sometimes you need to put your ego on the side. You need to just trust that everything will work out and do things that you would not usually do. I have a few tricks for that. So one is joining a conversation. So you try to find a cool group of people and who looks approachable, and you start by introducing yourself, and then you listen, and then maybe you will have something to say in the discussion. That's I guess the most basic trick you can imagine to network. But still sometimes you forget about that. Find someone you know. That's always helpful. I love to go somewhere oh, I know you. Yes. Eventually they will introduce you to other people. Be different. Wear a tiger pen, for example. Grow some hair. Those things actually makes you more approachable, and will kind of act as icebreakers. People will come to you and hey, that's great paints, or this is weird, but it's still an icebreaker. So it's you don't have to make this first effort. People will actually come to you and talk to you more easily. Give yourself some goals. One of my goals, for example, when I attend an event, is to connect with at least one person. It's not that difficult if you think about it, just one person. But sometimes, especially at the beginning when I arrived, that's something I kind of forgot. I was organizing meetup and kind of stayed in the background. I think it's really important to, especially when it comes to getting out of the comfort zone, to give yourself approachable goals that are still a bit edgy, and that you want to achieve, and that make you feel proud of what you're doing. Embracing your vulnerability. Sometimes you just don't feel like it, I have days where I'm clearly not social. I just want to stay hidden in front of my computer, and I want to get out. I think it's good to also know that not every day is going to be the last day, so you need to make sure that your energy level is up to do something. It doesn't mean that you cannot surpass that, but you still need to know yourself a little bit, and also sometimes be just vulnerable to others. Like me right now, like, speaking on the stage is like something that, I don't feel super comfortable with. But I do it. All right, so small talks, like Germans, like you guys are bad with small talks, I've noticed that. Americans are great with that, like they can talk about anything, and somehow it's like an important skill. Like you can learn it, it's not that difficult. It can be something like, hey, you've been to this event before, like if it's a meetup, or like, how have you heard about this conference? Like really easy topics. You don't necessarily have to talk about the weather, but like if you have to, just talk about the weather. So try to have like a list of like small icebreakers like that. It's and like also listen to what others are using to break the ice. This one sometimes, like, you're stuck in, just realized that I'm in front of my slide. So sometimes you're actually stuck in a conversation, you're like, yeah, I want to get out of here. How can I do that? You can, I have a few tricks for that. Now everyone is gonna, be like, okay, Johann wants to leave this conversation if he, says that he wants to get a drink. But yes, so add people to the conversation is one thing, and then you can leave like gracefully. Just say that you want to go to the bathroom, get a drink, spot someone and say, hey, I'll be back, I need to talk to this person. Sometimes, you need to do that, and yeah. Give and take, it's really important. So, as I said, paying it forward is like kind of a mantra in Silicon Valley. Like people always, approach you like as soon as they kind of know what you're doing, they're like, hey, how can I help you? And it can be like just connecting two people together, offering some introduction, offering like some feedback on an idea or on some product, and that's something I would like you guys to keep in mind today. Like, try at least one time. That's a goal, like we were talking about goals. One time today, ask someone, how can I help you? Ask for help. That's also important. Like, it's good to give. Sometimes you need help. You need to, to get feedback on, I don't know, like a pitch presentation. You need to get an introduction to someone. Ask it. Does this networking thing actually works? I asked my Facebook friends. Apparently it does. Even have Patrick here, who says that he found his co-founder at a hackathon. We have people like who actually found love. We have people who found, who actually moved to another country because they met someone interesting at an event. And that's pretty much it for today. So my question to you is like, how can I help you? And thank you for your attention.
Bravo.
Now you have the possibility to ask 1 or 2 or 3 questions to Johann. We do it, I think, I don't know if somebody already wrote, I saw only one through Slido. It was about if I had a good dream last night. I don't know if it helps. Ask this question? No.
Sorry.
Somebody asked if I had a nice dream that last night. But did you have a nice dream last night?
Actually, I woke up and I was like, I had a nice dream, but I cannot remember what it was.
Ah.
And that's really frustrating. Like for half an hour, my brain was spinning like, what was this nice dream? And I couldn't remember it.
What I like is all your tricks are very analog. I mean, the trousers, the exploding hair, finding good friends, star troopers or dogs. This is very analog, I like. So, some of you have some questions to Johann.
Probably shy.
No, this is the first round. This is always like, we could pick somebody. Please ask me. Yeah, gentleman here.
What's your company about?
My company. So we're basically like a meta search for style. So we basically aggregate products from different sites, from different fashion brands, and we put them on one interface. You can search for like your next pair of jeans. We can give you like the stores where you can find these those articles. That's what we're doing.
So platform. Okay, another question?
Steffi.
What is your vision for the future?
My vision for the future? Wow, that's a deep question. Well, we are talking a lot about AI, about blockchain, disintermediation, and about like how the world is going to evolve with machines. I'm a very optimistic person, so I do believe that we are going to have more time to connect with others, more time for arts. So I do hope that the machine will actually, give us a bit of slack to do like things we actually love.
Things we can actually.
All right, another question here.
Yeah, and I met you at the chatbot meetup at Stylight.
Yes.
You presented, or other speakers presented the chatbot working for like search for the clothes. And considering your interest in the AI, how does it develop, and do you have already like working chatbots that analyze customer behavior and so on?
No, so we don't have it. We have some proof of concept that we've been working on. It's still like, especially when it comes to AI. Like I don't know if you have been like interacting with chatbots, but like I just saw that Facebook, for example, put M there, like digital concierge, on ice because like the experience is not that good right now. It can be good for like some products. But I think like AI is still not at a stage where you can have a real conversation with a chatbot and be it like like you would have with a human. So we are gonna wait a little bit with the chatbot aspect and resume that at some point.
All right. Thank you very much. Last question.
You talked about keeping in touch with people. What are your techniques? Do you use a lot of social media, or is it?
Yeah, mostly social media, I would say. I mean, like, of course, like social media is the obvious one. Sending people like a quick message sometimes is, and like sometimes you forget as well. Like, but sometimes I go through like a list of my, just browse through my contacts and like, oh, I haven't talked to this person for a long time. I'm just going to send them a quick message saying, hey, how are you doing? Like, what's up? So that's one. And I go to a lot of events. It's also like a good way to reconnect. Like every time I go to like a conference like this, I meet people that sometimes I haven't met for like a year or so, and it's good to reconnect like that.
All right. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, Johann Romefort. Big round of applause for Johann, please. And